Well, it's time for the infamous Jay Moore Show.
Thank God. Turn that music off.
Hey, what are you
I'm about
talking
to
about?
fall asleep.
That is the Rick Rose playlist we were just listening to, and we're going to go back to that when the show's over.
Oh, not that song. I know you don't like me ripping
Simon
on the
and
station,
Garfunkel.
but Simon and Garfunkel,
Nice
how old is
laid-back
that?
song. 40 years, I guess.
Yeah,
50 years.
Come on, it's time to update the playlist, isn't it?
Hey, they're both still alive. What are you talking
They
about?
are?
Yeah, Simon and Garfunkel, they're alive. Yeah, of course they are. Anyway,
Yeah.
on that happy note, the infamous Jay Moore Show. No, this is our show together.
Yeah, the infamous Pat Porter show.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah.
I don't know what to call it.
Well, call it Tuesday night.
I just think we're signing in, I don't know.
Tuesday night. It's
Tuesday night.
our new show. I believe this is
Week 4.
episode 4.
Yeah, week 4. We've been here a month.
Yeah. So there we go. Tuesday night. This is going to be a podcast by tomorrow.
Right.
So what we have today, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on around the area.
Yeah, no guests. We just kind of blew the guests off today, and we're just going to roll through the hour.
They were
with
begging us to come on the air, and we said, no, you guys aren't good enough.
Not today, man.
We're not putting you on, You got
I don't
nothing
know.
to say.
I don't know if a guest is required every single
No,
time
of
we
course
open
not.
up the mics. I really don't know.
No,
Because sometimes
you're my guest, and I'm your guest.
I just think that sometimes it's nice to have the pressure off. No prep. No looking up a guest's past history. No, back and forth with the guests. I can come on at this time. I can't come on at this time. Talking to agents, talking to press people, talking to publicists.
Well, that's what we do. That's our job.
But I'm getting lazy,
You
Pat.
get lazy, are
I'm
you?
getting lazy. I want to be these old time jocks that just kind of spin the records.
show up,
and,
yeah.
just show up and.
I got an
cash
interesting
it in.
story about that. If you got a minute,
Sure.
All right,
Of
we'll
course,
tell
I
everybody.
got the whole
here.
hour. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Yeah, okay. I was doing an all-night show
Yeah.
at a radio station.
Yeah.
One time many years ago, and my job was to stay until the morning man showed up, make sure that he got on the air, and then I'd go home. So I finished up at 5 in the morning. The morning man would be there.
Yeah.
Supposedly ready to go at 5:01 or right after the newscast or whatever else. So anyway, I had this morning man that would show up. He used to drive to Hamilton, but he would drive from almost from Guelph, way up there.
Yeah.
Other side of 401.
Making some money.
Yeah, well, he would drive in, so he didn't want to get there an hour ahead of time and put a show together.
No.
He wanted to get there right on time so he could sit down. My last song was ending. His was about to begin, and he was ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. That's fine if you show up, if you're going to be there. But he had a habit of coming in 5 minutes, 10 minutes late, half an hour late. And so I would have to continue and do my show. I didn't get paid for the extra
Yeah,
time.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd have to do a show. Say, where's this guy? When's he going to show up?
Oh no.
Yeah. So I got tired of that, and I said, well, I'm not gonna do that anymore. When he shows up, it's gonna be dead air, because when I'm off the air, I'm not playing any more music. I'm just gonna sit there and wait.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this happened, and he came running in, like 10 minutes behind. Well, what are you doing? You're off the air. I said, yeah, well, my show's over.
Yeah. Good. He's using you then.
Yeah, I know. So he sat down, he started. He was all out of breath. And this happened again about 2 weeks later. And again, I didn't play anything. I just sat there and I waited for him.
Yeah.
Dead air at 5 o'clock in the morning. He comes running in. Oh, you're doing that again. I said, yeah, well, my show's over at 5. You're supposed to be here at 5 o'clock.
Right.
And every day. Don't tell me that you have this reason, that reason. I get to work on time, so can
Right.
you.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, the boss, the program director who did the morning news, was driving in, and he heard the dead air.
Uh-oh.
He comes to me and he says, what are you doing? You're not playing anything? He says, your job is to stay there until the morning man shows up. I said, well, yeah, that's fine as long as he's going to show up. But if he's going to be late, like all the time,
Yeah.
which happened once every couple of weeks maybe, and
Yes.
sometimes half an hour, if he slept in, it'd be an hour and a half I'd be there doing his show after
Yes.
I'd worked all night long.
Yeah. Forget it.
Yeah. So he says, okay, you can't leave. I said, well, I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock. I'm just leaving. He says, no, you can't leave. You got to stay here until he shows up.
Okay.
So well, you better speak to him and tell him that he's got to get here on time.
Yeah.
He says, no problem. I'll talk to him and tell him he's got to be here on time. Okay, fine. The next day, he's late, right? So I said, okay, I got to be here.
Now what? Yeah.
I'm going to wait outside in the parking lot in my car.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was here. So I went outside and I sat in my car.
Yeah.
And I watched him come whipping in around the corner,
Yeah.
pulling in. He sees me sitting in the car. What are you doing? Not the boss, but the morning man.
Sure.
So I said, I'm waiting for you. He said, well, you got to be inside. He said, there's nothing on the air. I said, well, yeah, the show's over. My show's over. You're late.
Yeah.
You're late. You were spoken to. You're supposed to be here on time. So, okay, fine. He goes running in. So before he got on the air, the boss pulls in the parking lot, looks at me sitting in the car. And he's, what are you doing? I says, I'm here.
Right.
I haven't left. You told me I couldn't leave, so I didn't leave. I'm here.
Yeah.
So, well, he just shook his head and walked in, The next day I got a memo about, 5 paragraphs telling me how bad that was. But it never happened again.
Oh.
The guy showed up on time,
Right.
15 minutes, 20 minutes early.
Oh,
from
yeah.
that point forward.
Because he should be on him, not you.
Yeah, he
Right.
did. He finally got on him, and he said, all
And
right,
I mean,
you're coming to work.
If you just played the music for another 10 minutes, then you'd be getting used the entire time. And these guys would go later and later and later all the time.
That's right.
So.
Well, one more part of that.
All right.
Kind of a different situation, but same station.
Yeah.
This was the morning man that had the job before the current one that I was telling you the story
Yes.
about. This guy was an old timer. He'd been there on the air for like 40, 50 years. He was
Yeah.
the mayor of the morning, as they called him, right?
Mayor of the Morning.
Mayor of the morning. Yeah.
Can't
So
show
everybody
up
knew
for
him.
work.
He'd get on, he'd tell a joke, and then he'd start a song. He had an operator. He had a producer that would, run everything. He'd just sit there in a chair and talk.
Yes. Get a board op.
Yeah, so I was down the hall through like 4 different windows, so I could see him coming in, and he never talked to me. He figured I was just a kid, I'm not going to waste my energy talking to a kid that's doing the late night show.
Yeah.
So he never talked to me. If I saw him in the hallway, he'd put his head down, he never talked. And so anyhow, he'd walk in, I'd see him through the window, he'd sit down in his chair, and he didn't even look up. He had his morning joke of the day, which he told.
Right, yeah.
Joke of the day.
Okay.
This was at 5:30 in the morning. He'd come on the air. And his operator, his producer, would be in the window facing him, and he'd hear the joke, and then he'd start the first song.
Okay.
And then the guy'd drink about 3 cups of coffee and on with the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, the producer never showed up. He slept in.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't make it in on time.
So no one's running the board.
Well, it was up to the guy that was doing the next show to make sure that his producer was there.
Okay,
It wasn't
yes.
up to me to look
Right.
around for him.
Yes.
So he never did because he figured that he was above and beyond everybody, and they
Yep.
just better be in their
Yep.
place.
The egos.
Yeah, that's right. So his big ego, did him in. So he sits down in his chair, tells his stupid joke of the day. He raises his hand, gives the finger cue to the,
No one's
the producer. There's nobody there.
Nice.
So, joke falls flat because you're supposed to have a song starting
Yeah,
right after
sure,
that.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Give it a little push. So he tells the joke, and nothing happens. He looks at me through 4 windows down the hall, and what am I going to do? I just made a funny face at him,
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to operate for his show from the producer's
Yeah.
vantage
Why
point.
would you know? It's not your
Yeah,
show.
I never did that, so I couldn't run over there and take charge. So I said, well, yeah, sorry about that. I guess you're out of luck. I guess you're gonna have to talk.
Right.
So he kept talking like for 15 minutes, and I called the producer, got him out of bed. I said, come on, get in here right away.
Yeah.
This guy's having a fit.
Yeah.
So he's talking. He's reading sports scores. He's reading the weather. Public service announcements, telling another joke.
Sure.
It sounded like horrible
Yeah,
radio because it was a music show where he'd play a song and he'd time temperature and tunes.
And it's amazing when these guys get kind of stuck with something. Oh, what do I do now? And they got
Yeah.
to talk for another 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
they're not prepared for it.
No. He had something to say like every time a song would end. He'd
Yeah,
have 10 seconds
sure.
of something.
Now you're taking up his material. In
That's
the first
it. It's
15
all
minutes.
gone. He used everything up
Yeah.
by the time the producer finally showed up.
Yeah.
So after that, he would nod to me in the hallway now and then. And,
Oh yeah.
about 3 months after that, he finally would say, "Good morning, Pat."
Right.
You know.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
he finally warmed up to me, But I never produced a show. He said, I'm not doing that.
It's interesting. A lot of these jocks back in the day, I'll just call them like
Yeah.
super ego, eh? Like they're in show business.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh wow, what is happening? What is happening? But I have a reverse story on that.
Yeah.
Tom Chiasano, who I talked to before, he was a producer of the Howard Stern show.
Yeah.
I always go back to the Howard Stern show because I like the way it ran. But he had a thing going like Howard would start at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
and then he wanted to move the show much like when I used to call in for you just before noon.
Yeah.
They wanted the show to start just before 6 because the ratings depended on that quarter
Right.
hour,
Yeah, yeah.
And Howard wouldn't do it. And Howard started at 6, and then he got smart and says, "Oh, I'm just going to play old material, for the 15 minutes until I'm ready to play."
Okay.
But I've often been, and this has always stuck with me in radio. This always stuck with me from talking to Jackie, talking to Chomp Chiasano, and all those folks that ran large market radio. They always say that the worst part of it is being an on-air talent because you have no leverage whatsoever. The management in the office could treat you like they're Hitler or something,
Yeah.
and just yell at you about every single thing. Like as far as you can't say the time it's 6:33, not 33 minutes past the hour,
Right,
and they're just
yeah,
yelling
yeah.
at you about all these rules,
Yeah.
radio checks, air checks, all these rules, and they can't yell at the sales team because all their job is to sell, commercials and get a commission
Yeah,
off of
yeah.
it.
They don't
So they're
care.
fine.
Yeah.
So the ones that get pooped on is the on-air talent,
Right.
and they're the ones that are packing up their box and out the door, and the next voice comes in because there's a ton of people with voices
Yeah.
that they can put on radio.
Right.
So it's very, very hard to be in the industry. That's for sure.
Well, it was very different. I mean, years ago, it was a lot different than it is now.
Yeah.
And now they've got format generic radio where they just want you to read the weather and
Yeah.
tell the time and
Yeah.
maybe talk about a bake sale that's coming up and
Yeah.
play the music and shut up.
Yeah, you really got not much to say.
So you can have John Doe
Yeah, you're
doing
disposable.
the show. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
disposable.
You're interchangeable. They can
That's right.
use somebody from Coburg or they can use somebody from Gananoque or
Right.
something to fill your spot because it doesn't matter.
And a lot of it is just college students coming out and working
Oh,
at a
yeah.
base minimum, and they're able to say the weather, the
Yeah,
time,
so they do a
which
voice
is
track.
none
They
of
do
it
a
is
voice
needed.
track. Not even live.
Not even live. So. Yeah, it's we go back to it from time to time talking about the death of radio, I guess. But although we love radio and we're passionate about it, it just times have definitely
It
changed.
changes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
morphs. So we're doing a podcast now, a show that becomes a podcast.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of a thing that people can access tomorrow or next week and listen back to
Oh,
it.
years from now, they
Yeah.
can rewind, they can pause it.
Long
they
after
can,
we're dead, they can play us again. They can
of
play.
course, yeah, yeah.
Put it on, yeah. Here's
Exactly.
Jay and Pat. They're dead now, but here's
Yeah,
their show.
Here's their show from years ago,
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah. Too much fun.
Yeah.
But it was different. And then I was at a small market radio station, and everybody had like a year or two experience. This was way up in northern British Columbia,
Okay.
in Smithers. You probably heard of Smithers.
Well, I've heard you talk about Smithers.
Smithers,
from
yeah.
time to time.
My first full-time radio gig
Right.
was in Smithers, and
Yeah.
all I did was freeze up there because
Yeah.
winter starts after Labor Day and it ends like, Victoria Day.
Yeah.
You got a month
Yeah.
of spring and a couple of weeks of summer.
Which is where you get started out in the sticks.
Yeah, you put your time in there because
right.
you can make mistakes and nobody cares.
No, that's right.
Because there's only one station coming in anyway
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
That was it. Either listen to this or listen to nothing.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to talk about? Okay. Oh, yeah. So we had a sports guy that would come in the morning and he'd read sports. And this guy knew all about sports. He watched every game. He listened to every game. He couldn't play anything because he had noodle arms, and he was a little,
Yeah.
little wee guy.
The ones that can't do it, so they talk about it.
Yeah, he had his high squeaky voice,
Right.
but he knew the scores, and
Right.
he'd read the scores, and
Like a little nerd.
oh, he would look forward to his 5 minutes every day. He'd come in there. He'd
Tell
be
you what's
waiting
on
in
the
hall.
hardwood for the day.
Oh, yeah. So the news director was kind of a bully, and it was his boss, but he was kind of a bully. And the news director would walk in behind him and he'd dump water on his head or something.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. While he was reading sports.
Really?
Yeah, a glass of water. He'd
Oh.
dribble it on his head. The guy's name was Charlie Northrup.
Okay.
I don't even know if he's still alive or not. But
Well, yeah.
we'll give you his name now. Charlie Northrup was the sports reporter.
Look him up.
And they used to call him Charlie Nose Drop.
Wow.
All around the radio station.
Yeah.
That was his nickname.
Oh, wow.
Because when they poured the water on his head, it would drip down his nose and look like it was leaking out of the end of his nose. Yeah. So he became known as Charlie Nose Drop,
Yeah.
which he wasn't happy about.
No, for sure.
So then another guy that was a newsman, everybody was kind of allowed to pick on this guy because nobody stopped anybody from doing it. Mm-hmm. So he would light the copy that he was reading on fire. He'd take his cigarette lighter and light the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And catch fire. You have to throw it away. But he didn't know what he was talking about.
Oh, that's great.
So this stuff happened all the time.
Yeah. The old days of radio when you could do the dirty stuff and,
Yeah.
you can't do that stuff anymore.
Oh no, you can't. Can't do that anymore.
Much like
No.
pro wrestling, like you heard the old stories last week when we talked to Lee Cole about some of the old stories in the 80s and the 90s of wrestling and the Vince McMahon and the management. You can't do that stuff anymore.
No.
Me Too movement has come in
Yeah,
hard.
you have to be very careful what you
Yeah,
say and
that's
how
right.
you say it now.
Yes,
You
yes,
don't want to
yes.
offend anybody,
No,
which we do anyway, but so what?
we do. We have to walk
We
a
watch, we
fine line.
tiptoe up to that
I mean, there's
line.
a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to say today on the show that I know that I can't get away with. So I'm just, walking the fine line because I'm going to offend somebody. Even though, I don't mind to take the heat, but one day I'm going to come up with it.
I know you will.
One day.
That's why you're the infamous
Yes,
Jay
yes,
Moore.
yes,
Because
yes.
you pull this kind
I
of
have a
stuff.
lot of information. I got careers I want to kill, and it's going to be over this microphone. Yeah.
Another station I went to, which was kind of a step up from Smithers.
Yeah.
This was in Chatham, Ontario.
Okay.
We had a newsman, and I was the guy that did the morning show. And the newsman was right to the side of me, to a window to the side, and he'd read his newscast in there.
Yes.
And so he would read his news, and he was very official. He tried to sound like Knowlton Nash or something. He wanted to sound like he was really official. But
Right.
he wasn't. He was just, I forget his name, but just a joker. So he was reading the news one day, and all of a sudden I heard a big belch.
Oh.
I looked over at him, and he had just let one loose.
Yeah.
Huge belch on the air.
Oh, wow.
He looks at me, and I look at him. Nobody said anything.
Just carry on.
They
Yeah.
carried on, finished off his sportscast or newscast or whatever he was doing. But right in the middle of it was this. I can't even make it on the air. I'm not going to belch on the air.
No,
but-
of course not. You're a professional.
It seemed to
yeah.
last 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
There was another guy. Now his name was Harold Smith.
Okay.
And he was a farmer.
Oh, yes.
He was a farmer in the
Farmer
Kent
Harold.
County area.
Okay.
He'd been there for 100 years
Yeah.
on the air.
Yeah.
And so Harold Smith would come in and do the hog report and the farm report, like Les Nessman.
Les
on
Nessman.
WKRP,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But every day... he
I
had
didn't
a-
know that was a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
There were a lot of farmers down there.
Oh, okay.
So they'd get up, they were up early in the morning, and they'd stop whatever they were doing and listen to Harold Smith do the farm report.
All right.
He was their buddy.
Now, what would the contents of a farm report be?
Oh, the price of the hogs for the day.
You're kidding me.
The price of wheat, the price of tomatoes, whether it went up or down. Or
Really?
Oh, just it put you to sleep.
Okay.
It was about 10 minutes long. But it was like, oh, my God.
They had to get their information.
Harold Smith, but he was really popular. Everybody loved him.
Yeah.
He'd go out in the community and he'd make an appearance or something, and Harold,
Yeah.
oh, it's really you, And he had suspenders and he had a stomach that
Oh,
stretched
wow.
out about 3 feet in front of him.
Right. Straw hat and overalls.
Oh yeah. He parted his hair down the center.
Oh, no.
One of those guys.
Oh, no.
Suspenders and he
Yeah.
had a bow tie.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So Harold Smith would
wow.
come in the morning.
Like the real Les Nessman.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Only a giant size Les Nessman. Harold would come in, and again, I was doing the morning show, and it was my job to, sit him in his chair, at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And there was a commercial that played, the farm report brought to you by, some seed company or whatever.
Yeah.
Harold Smith would sit down, and he'd look over at me like he's ready to go. I'd play the commercial. Now, he's supposed to come on right after the commercial. It's silent. I look over at Harold through the window. He's sleeping.
No.
He fell asleep.
Harold fell asleep
He
during the
fell
hog
asleep.
report. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he hadn't even started. He was waiting for his 30-second commercial to
Oh,
end.
no.
And he fell asleep
Where's the water bucket then when you need it?
No, I had to leave the room, run down the hall, go into the next room, wake him up.
Yeah.
He sat up, startled, starts making gurgling noises and everything.
Oh, no.
I ran back to my studio. He goes on the air and he's reading just like nothing ever happened.
Sure.
But come on, Harold, how can you fall asleep in 30 seconds?
I don't know. It seems like, Pat, in working with you for so many years, I must say you are very well prepared at all times, very professional, able to open the mic and go at it. Like, I've never heard these stories of you having a faulty situation in over 40 years.
I didn't often have. The one
Yeah.
time I forgot that it was my shift.
Oh,
And I was out with my buddies and we were, partying. And it was about 1 o'clock in the morning and I was driving home.
okay.
And I turned the radio on and I heard my boss.
On the air.
Yeah.
In your shift. Oh,
Well, I thought,
didn't know it was
No,
your
I
shift.
thought it was another guy's shift because
Yeah.
I was off that night.
right.
So I'm listening, I'm laughing, ha, ha, ha. The other guy didn't make it in, ha, ha. He's going to be in trouble tomorrow, I thought, wait a second. And I got home and I went to my pile of papers and I found my shift list and it was supposed to be me in there.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I made a quick phone call. I said, hey, I'm on my way. Like I was supposed to start like an hour and a half before
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I rush down to the radio station, go running up the stairs. There's my boss doing my show. I walk in all out of breath. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot it was my turn tonight. I'm so sorry. He gets up, stands up, he looks at me, and he walks out.
Okay.
And that's all that was said.
Nothing the next day.
Not a thing. But that one look did it.
Yeah.
I knew.
He wasn't happy with it.
He was not happy
Yeah.
because he went to bed like probably 9 o'clock at night because he had
Right.
to come in and do the morning news.
Right. So you're doing night shift, and now he's got to come in and work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was no voice tracking back in those days.
No.
It was live 24
Yeah.
hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah, like you never hear. I mean, there may be a few stations that do it, but you never hear an overnight guy anymore, ever.
No.
Like it's either voice track or they just play continuous music all
Syndicated
night long.
programming or whatever.
Yeah, like the days of the night. But those were the best shows, the nighttime shows.
I got a lot of nice calls.
Yeah.
A lot of ladies would call up.
I know.
Oh, hey.
Ladies would show up at the studio, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't go into those stories.
No, but I know that happened. I've heard a few of those stories, yes.
There was a fire escape, and they'd come up the back, bang on the door.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's all I can say.
I'm not going to out anybody that, I know about the night shift, and I know a few stories from some people that work the night shift. Namely, Bubba the Love Sponge has some good nighttime stories.
Yeah.
And also, I heard some good ones from the late, great Iron Mike Benson. So I know,
Oh, yeah.
I know that there's some dirties that went
Yeah.
on there. But, hey, shout outs to the night shift, guys.
Well, one guy who's no longer with us. He's passed away, but he used to do the all-night show
Yeah.
at that same station.
Okay.
Where the fire escape came up the back there,
Yes.
and they could bang on the door and come in. These ladies would call him from a cab, and they'd say, hey, we're coming over. We want to party with you while you're doing your show.
Yeah.
Okay, come on over. So anyway, they'd come in the studio, 2 or 3 of them, strippers or, women that are out late at night,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call them, ladies of the night.
Right.
They'd come in and they'd put on music and they'd dance to the music.
Oh, that's great. That's
dancing
great.
around.
Yeah.
He'd be dancing with them and they'd be dancing. And the trick was he had to get them out of there by 4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning because
yeah.
the morning staff would start coming in.
Yeah.
So he lost track of time one day.
Yeah.
And whoops,
There you go. Yeah.
caught you.
Yeah. Now I know you don't want to mention this, but I'm going to mention it because
right.
there's a few late night the real jocks that
Yeah.
really get down and dirty at a big time rock station where they would actually. It's easy to chop up your coke on the vinyl, like you know what I mean, and do the night, and that's when the girls, are going crazy because the show's going crazy, they're going crazy,
Yeah.
and they're all high on coke.
Yeah.
So maybe he lost track of time. I'm not suggesting it was
Could've
him,
been.
but that's
No,
the
they
thing.
would hide whatever they were doing,
Yeah.
so you'd have to catch them.
Well, you can hide it in the jackets of the vinyl as well. It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
perfect situation.
Yeah.
God bless the old vinyl record.
And
yeah.
then none of us would tell on each other.
No, no.
We
The
had to
office
get
doesn't
caught.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. There was another guy that did the morning show. Now and then he would come in when they needed him.
Yeah.
And he'd always have a paper bag, and it would be a bottle of whiskey in the paper
Oh, yeah.
bag. And he'd set it down under the counter. He'd look around, make sure nobody was looking, and then he'd set it down right by his feet.
Right.
And he'd play a couple songs and take a couple of swigs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
By 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, he was plastered. He couldn't say his name properly. But they never caught him.
No, I mean, some of the guys know how to do that and work through it, but yeah, it's just, I guess, gone are the days of drinking on the job. But I mean, if you don't get caught, then hey, who's going to do anything
Well,
about it?
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago.
Yeah, many. We're probably exposing way too much here.
Ah,
but
that's okay. People need to know about
those
that.
stories are old now, and
Yeah.
there's probably a few still doing it in this market. I
Oh
would
yeah.
say.
Well, I don't know. You got
All right, I'm
to catch
pushing
it.
it. I'm pushing it, yeah.
Possibly. We won't say what stations.
Yeah,
but,
right.
There's got to be a few.
Yeah, sure.
Let's
does.
talk about our sponsors.
All right, great
They will
time
play a song.
time to bring up the sponsors. Yes.
Right, yeah. Get us out of this conversation.
Yes.
Sixpackrecruiting.com. Dale Ann Melnick was my guest last Friday, and she was up in Ottawa, and she was coaching volleyball up there. Team Ontario Beach volleyball
Yeah.
players up there.
Yeah.
And Dale Ann Melnick, pardon me, welcomes your calls. Go to sixpackrecruiting.com. And there's a spot there you can find to book a call with Dale Ann Melnick. So you do that. Say if you're a woman volleyball player, you're in university, you're in high school, you want to take your career to the next level, maybe get your university paid for free. Get a scholarship to play volleyball for 4 years. Not bad.
No, not bad at all. And I know a lot of people since that show have probably gone to Six Pack Recruiting because it's one of our highest rated shows.
Oh, yeah.
Dale Ann Melnick.
Dale Ann Melnick, yeah.
It's really hard on my tongue. Dale Ann Melnick.
Well, you got to practice that.
Yeah, I always want to say Dale.
She does group coaching over Zoom, women's indoor volleyball athletes that she will find spots for.
Yeah.
Outdoor, she was national champion for 2022 and 2023 for Ontario's beach volleyball.
Yes, yes.
She had a lot going for her, so we'll talk further about her the next time we're on the air. Herndon Estate Winery, wow. They've got a lot of stuff going on this
We're
summer.
getting closer to the summer series, yeah.
We could
Summer
talk for
music
15
series.
minutes
yeah, for
on
sure.
what
For
they've
sure.
got going.
We should probably do a show on Hernders.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
that would be a great idea.
Yeah, we'll get them in here.
Yeah.
We'll talk to them about all their different venues and things that they're going on with. June 5th starts their weekly supper markets every Wednesday, 4:30 until dusk, with vendors and food trucks and the outdoor patio, and just sit there and sip wine and entertainment. Gelato. Herndon Estate Winery, of course, 1607 8th Avenue Louth in St. Catharines. Or just go to herndon.com. Everything is there.
Yeah.
Everything you need to know.
Everything is listed there, and you can even buy wine online there.
Yeah, and they'll deliver it by Canada Post.
Well, that's perfect.
So
yeah.
how about that? You
Yeah.
don't even have to get out of your chair.
That's perfect. Yeah,
Somebody comes knocking on your door. Here's your wine.
You just open up your cell phone, and you can get wine delivered right to your door.
How about
From
that?
Hernders,
Yeah.
one of the most premium wines in the Niagara region. Yeah.
One of the best, definitely. I'm trying to turn the page here because I had something else on Dale Ann Melnick, which we just got done talking about.
Right.
Herndon Estate Wines, Rhythm and Soul in Niagara Wine Country with Junior Hardy Trio. That's 3 Sundays in June, July, and August. And again, if you want to get tickets for that, get in touch with Hernders, herndon.com. $10 in advance, $20 at the door. HQ, headquarters, hair quarters.
Hair quarters.
Pardon me, yeah.
Right.
Premier Hair Salon.
Yeah.
They specialize in so many different things. A comprehensive stylist with hair coloring and cutting, design, styling techniques, makeup enhancement services. You know, they'll make you look really, really good. When you leave there, you're going to look in the mirror and say, wow, I'm coming back tomorrow.
And it's interesting.
They're that good.
Hair Quarters has been on with us a while now,
Yeah.
past couple months. And a lot of the ladies that I talk to and socialize with
Yeah.
all ask me about Hair Quarters. I'm going into Hair Quarters and getting some work done. And
Yeah.
it seems to, it's always been there, like you say, over 40 years in business.
42.
42 years in business. But I think people love that location specifically at the Fairview Mall.
Right in the center of St. Catharines.
Get everything done. groceries done, get your hair done, send
That's
the
it.
kids to the bowling alley.
Yeah, that's right. There's a bowling alley there as well. Yeah. Blues with the Feeling is coming up the 11th of May, and we're going to be the host of this event. Steve Strongman, Brent Parker, and Carlos Del Junco are going to be there, all in support of Richard Newell, who is King Biscuit Boy, no longer with us, but Hamilton's foremost exponent of the blues, the late Richard Newell. King Biscuit Boy. You hear him on the harmonica, and you think, wow, this guy was really something. So this is at the Leander Boat Club. We're there 2 or 3 times every year.
Sure.
Leander Drive in Hamilton. Steve Strongman, a hometown favorite, nominated 3 times for a Juno Award and a winner one time. Steve also is a multiple winner of Maple Blues Awards and Hamilton Music Awards. And in 2019, he won the Best Guitarist, Solo or Duo at the International Memphis Blues Challenge. So we'll be talking a lot more about Steve Strongman. He's the big host, not the host, but he's the
headliner.
Yeah, he's a headliner. That's right. Now, Club Belvedere has a great show coming up. This is a little bit later, July 13th. Club Belvedere in Thorold. Right at the club, food and cash bar available. Tickets only $25. You'll have a chance to see Gypsy Blues Review.
Perfect.
With J.P. Soares and Ann Harris entertaining. And you want to see some good blues and have dinner at the same time. Club Belvedere. Mark that date down. Saturday, July 13th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And there's nothing like a good time, but when you watch the blues, somebody perform the blues, or a bunch of people performing the blues, and having dinner.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
Yeah,
having dinner, having a couple drinks, and the blues as your
backup, your backdrop.
It seems backdrop, I guess, but there's got to be a better word for it. But it just seems like a great night.
It is. Good time.
And again, with the blues, I want to put a reminder out there, Pat Porter, to any of those shows with the blues, the one at Club Belvedere and the Leander Boat Club. I know you and I have hosted a lot of blues shows over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm just warning everybody, you got to get your tickets early because all of those blues shows sell out.
They do.
And they sell out quick.
So don't expect to get there 10 minutes before showtime and buy a ticket.
Not happening.
You'll be out in the parking lot listening through the windows.
Having a cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy. There's another couple of sponsors that are coming on with us real soon.
Yes.
And that's the Toronto Dominion Jazz Festival, Niagara Jazz Festival.
Yes.
That's going to be part of Blues on the Battlefield, which is taking place over Canada Day weekend.
Right.
So they're going to be on with us talking about all sorts of jazz.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Big festival.
A huge festival. I've seen that many, many times, the TD Jazz Festival. And a lot of branding. People know about the TD Jazz Festival. You drop that name, the TD Jazz Festival, and people know what you're talking about.
That's right. It's going to be in Niagara. It's going to be over the Canada Day long weekend in Thorold at Beaver Dams Park.
Excellent.
And also the Battle of Beaver Dams Blues and Rock Festival.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3 days as well. Some of our favorite bands are going to be there. Vinyl Flux is going to be entertaining.
Absolutely, Vinyl Flux. We've seen them there before, and everybody knows Vinyl Flux. They're at all the clubs all over the region. Every Friday, Saturday, you can find Vinyl Flux somewhere. But you and I have hosted, I think it was their first Battlefield, where Vinyl Flux was performing, and what a great time!
Oh, it was. Yeah.
What a great time!
It was good.
We got rained out that day, but
it didn't rain till 11 o'clock at night, just ahead of the fireworks.
Fireworks got rained out. But a storm came in and we missed the fireworks. But the great thing about it is Vinyl Flux got their entire set in. So
yeah, I know.
Shout outs to Rob Cave and the boys from Vinyl Flux.
Joe Menicucci and all the gang.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another big event. So a few things that are going on this summertime.
And let me just mention a couple other popular ones that are included in that Battlefield. Obviously, Figure 4, everybody knows about.
Yeah.
But a big name that is coming is the Orangemen.
Yeah.
And a very, very popular band. Every time I went to host a show that had the Orangemen in it, sell out right away. And I'm talking within hours. Fill a building. People love the Orangemen in Niagara.
Yeah, this is going to be outside. You can bring your lawn chair. You can bring a blanket. It's free, yeah. Or get there, and there is seating available. So, you can wander around. The kids can go play.
Yep, they have a playground there on the grounds. They have, last time I was there, they had alcohol on the grounds. I'm sure that's allowed, wristband policy. And, hey, It's free. What more can you say? On Canada Day, and they have fireworks.
Yeah.
It's your one-stop shop for Canada Day
There you
weekend.
go.
Yeah.
So, let's play a guy that's coming to Club Belvedere on July 13th. We were just talking about him, J.P. Soares. I got a great song by J.P. Soares, Been Down So Long. Let's hear that right now. 4680q.ca.
Been down so long, being down don't worry me no more. Been down so long, don't worry me no more. Well, I wanna pack my suitcase and move on back to Arkansas. Well, I know you have your trouble. Been having mine all my
right, there you go. Been down so long, JP Soares. It's going to be even better when he gets together with Ann Harris for the Gypsy Blues Review, July 13th at Club Belvedere. You know, infamous Jay Moore, you know what's coming up next holiday?
May 2-4?
Well, no. Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day.
Yeah, Mother's Day is coming up. Yeah.
I gotta buy another.
Oh, I met your mother at Christmas.
Right, you did. Yes.
So you're gonna have to get your mother something nice because she raised you. She put up with you for how many years?
Yes.
You know, I can't imagine how she's such a nice, laid back, easygoing woman who had to raise you for a son. You know,
how dare you, Pat Porter?
How did she survive
how
that?
How dare you?
My son is infamous Jay Moore.
Yeah, I think it's probably not what she wanted me to be in life. I don't know how it came about like this.
Tell her you're gonna be a wrestler. Manager of wrestlers.
She always supported, but I don't think this is like what they thought it was gonna happen.
No.
And I don't know, the word support. You don't even know if deep down they really is that just, you know.
Oh, I imagine she'd walk down the hall and shake her head at your father, you know. And he'd shake his head and say, well, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Luck of the draw.
It's interesting, though. They have been to a couple events that took them by surprise, and we're like, wow.
Wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it took them years to go to the wrestling. Yeah. It took them years to go to the wrestling. I think they went to the odd show here and there, but my beginning years were a lot worse than when I kind of peaked out. And they were like, what the hell is he doing? You know, he should be getting on with his job and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they never really outright said that. They just kind of sat back. But a lot of times, like, you know, there was decades, Pat Porter, probably a good 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe over 20 years. Where I didn't get to the family cottage, you know, that we built. I didn't do any family activities. I wasn't there for birthdays. I wasn't there for even my sister's wedding. Yeah. I was on the road.
You didn't go.
Yeah, I didn't go. Oh. You know, and it's kind of the hardest feeling to have to be able to say over a telephone call, yeah, I'm not going to make my sister's wedding because I got a gig out in Rochester.
Congo Kong in the ring. I got a video that was sent to me this morning by Chuck LaFleur.
Right.
Now, this was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We were doing a wrestling event. You were the infamous Jay Moore, the manager of Congo Kong.
Yeah.
And Chuck LaFleur was in the ring. He was kind of like the MC.
Yes.
And I was helping him out.
Yes.
So we were in there, and he had a shirt on that said, Jay Moore is not a putz or something.
Yes.
I think you gave him the shirt or something.
I saw that particular clip.
They saw that.
Yes, Chuck sent it as well, and I looked at that clip, Pat, and I was like, "Wow, was I ever a jerk in those days, man? Like I could never do that, even in these days. You know, it's kind of like going back to the beginning of the show where we're talking about radio and the things you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
That's what you can't do in wrestling because, man, did I really come down hard on you guys?
It was
That's
funny.
sure.
It was so funny. Watching that clip again and looking at that and saying, I was looking at myself, and I was a bit heavier back in those days as well.
Yeah.
And I said, look at that big gut hanging out. That was me. And I never realized it at the time.
Yes.
You know, you tuck your shirt in, you think, I look pretty good. You look at your face, you know, and you say, yeah, I look pretty good. Then you see the video. I say, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. And I was just, the crowd absolutely hated me. But what I did
They love to hate you.
I forced you to wear the shirts. I know the phone's ringing, but don't answer, Pat Porter, because we're almost coming to time. But what's interesting...
That's Rick telling us we're fired.
No, you know who it is.
Oh.
I reached out today to Steve Miller, the Steve Miller band that was performing at the OLG stage.
Oh, Abracadabra.
And the Joker and all that.
Yeah.
And I told him I needed a little bit better of a time than what he. So now he's calling in.
Yeah, well, Steve, you have to call us back.
I apologize. Now the answer machine's going to hang that phone up, Pat Porter.
It's gone. It's gone. Yeah.
I don't know. This station.
Right.
This station.
I figured Rick Rose had heard us talking and said, "Oh, these guys, they got to go."
No,
he's pulling the plug on us.
Steve Miller. So we'll get to Steve Miller another day.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Jet Airliner. Oh, great songs. Yeah.
Great songs. It would have been great to have an interview with him.
Well, we'll get it.
Today's not the
I
day.
talked to Steve Miller about 2-3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was playing somewhere in the area.
Well, that's good enough.
He was interesting. Interesting guy. Yeah.
Anyways, going back to that video, Pat Porter, I
Yeah.
didn't want to get off this thought where I was yelling at you guys to wear the Jay Moore's Not a Putz shirt because that was a thing in the day where you guys used to call me a putz.
Yeah.
And
The
then
crowd was chanting putz, putz, putz.
Right, and I brought out Tiberius King, and we forced you guys to put the shirts on.
I remember, yeah.
And the greatest thing about it is Tiberius King said, "You don't want to do what we're gonna do, what we tell you to do, then he's gonna whip you like a dog." And took his belt off, and I was like, "Oh my God, you cannot say that stuff anymore." He was gonna whip you two guys like a
was
dog.
7 years
in the
ago.
military. 7 years ago, but 7 years ago is a long time. I don't even remember this.
So Congo Kong comes in, and people don't know what he looks like. He's just this huge, huge guy.
Yeah,
Made
well
up.
over 400 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. He gets in the ring, and he's walking around the ring, and he's, looking like he's going to take care of somebody.
You guys.
Me or Chuck LaFleur, yeah. Because you were his manager, so he
Right.
liked you.
Yeah.
But he walked over, and he looks at Chuck LaFleur, so I got in behind Chuck.
Yeah.
And I gave him a shove right into Congo Kong.
And I noticed you actually put the shirt on and said, "Hey,
I
I'm getting out of this." Yeah,
I put it on, and I took it off again. Yeah. Yeah, Jay Moore's Not a Putz.
yeah, good times. But yeah, going back to my mother, when I was peeking out there doing the wrestling, and they actually went to an event that was good, and I had a lot to do on it. My dad actually said, "Well, I got to say something. You're really good at this."
No kidding.
Yeah, he said that, and it just kind of blew me away. It took 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years for him to say I was good at something.
Yeah,
you know?
it does. Parents don't want to give you credit.
But it's really hard to say that, you're going into the wrestling business. It doesn't make sense to any parent, And
I want you to be a doctor, a lawyer.
And I'll tell you something. I wouldn't suggest it to anybody. I mean, I guess I would to somebody that's going through the training process, but someone that's young to take the road that I did it's impossible. Now it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
yeah. Well, there wasn't even any schools when I started. There was like it was hard to break into the business. You had to know somebody.
Yeah.
And I got him, believe it or not, through the great Gary Gambino and Sniper Randy Vaughn, believe it or not.
No kidding.
Yeah. That's how I first started, Pat.
Sniper, I haven't seen Sniper Randy Vaughn in a while.
No.
He used to go to the gym I go to, but now he goes to some other gym.
Yeah.
Probably his own in his basement or
Well,
something.
we'll talk about that off air. I'll tell you what's going on with Randy Vaughn.
All right. Let's talk about Mother's Day. Do you know what Mom wants this Mother's Day, Jay Moore?
My mom doesn't put on that she wants anything, and I think flowers are kind of boring, but I usually end up with a gift card and a card.
Ah,
I don't know.
You go all out, eh?
I don't know what else to
You
do.
get a $20 gift card for Tim Hortons or what?
Well, I gave my dad. It was his birthday just a couple weeks ago, and I actually gave him $100.
Oh,
Canadian
okay.
Tire card.
Yeah.
And he said that was generous because I've never done that.
Well,
and I probably would
you're
have never.
grown up now.
Yeah, and I had Ashley with me who was saying, you can't get anything for $50 anymore.
No.
So,
No.
which sucks. You can't get anything, right? You know what I mean? Now I'm pulling out 100.
$50 is now the new 10.
Yeah.
$50 bill. That's the new $10 bill.
You can't get much. Yeah, I mean, I don't even like going to get anybody gifts to a Canadian Tire, but my dad was doing the roof on his cottage.
Oh, yeah.
73 years old, and he's up doing a roof.
No
on the-
kidding,
yeah.
eh? Oh, wow. Oh.
And I'm getting him a gift card and not helping. So, I mean,
gift card. You know what you should do for Father's Day is help him fix his roof.
I should, but I think it's done by now without me. As much of his life, he gets the job done without me. So
That's too much work.
shout outs to my dad,
Yeah.
73 years old.
Well, you know what mothers want. Dads may think they're playing it safe by giving moms flowers and candy. And a survey has come out saying that many mothers would prefer digital gifts.
Digital gifts.
30% of mothers still prefer flowers, but 27% would like to have a new gadget, like a smartphone or something.
Yeah.
So what's a smartphone cost?
Yeah, exactly.
your mother
A good couple
$1,000
$100 bucks. I know Darlene Neufield's always on her smartphone at all times. And I remember a gift that I was going to buy a while ago for, I think my mom is, those, somebody talked me out of it, but those picture frames where it's digital and the picture changes inside the frame. Yeah. Somebody talked me out of it, but I thought that would be a good
That'd
one.
be a good thing, yeah.
But then I don't know how to load it. So that's the other thing. You get these digital gifts and you give it to them without any preparation.
They don't know what to do
They don't
with
know
it.
what to do with
No,
it.
what do I do
You got to
with
give it
this?
to them all fixed up and loaded.
Yeah. Now, fewer than 5% want candy on Mother's Day. Less than 5%.
Okay, yeah.
They don't want candy.
No.
Hand them a Snickers bar. Here you go. Happy Mother's
Yeah,
Day.
they get that every week
Yeah.
at groceries anyways.
3/4 of fathers, 72%, say they have problems finding Mother's Day gifts.
So do I. I don't know what to get.
Well, do you get Ashley, your girlfriend, a Mother's Day gift?
No, she's not a mother. I
Well,
guess
she's not your mother.
No. Well,
But
she's
she
not a
should-
mother at all.
Well, if you had a wife, would you get your wife something for Mother's Day?
If they're not a mother, I think it rules it out. Now, I might have to get Ashley something this year because we got a dog. So you know how they have their fur babies, you know. But
I get a dog bed.
I mean, the last thing I think it was Valentine's Day. Ashley literally said, "I'd be happy if you got me some flowers." She
Oh,
literally
yeah?
had to tell me, dictate that. And she said that they were cheap at Sobeys, so she gave me, you know, that she knows I'm not going to spend a big dollar on it. So she said, literally had to tell me, go get me some roses at Sobeys.
yeah. So you did?
Yeah, I had to do that. Yeah.
Why don't you go out in the yard? You live out in the country. You could go out and pick some flowers.
I'm not picking flowers. I want it all wrapped up with the plastic on it and the bow in it.
I think you save that money, put it back in your
No,
pocket.
you know what? The reason I got into wrestling and I got into radio is just I don't want to do physical labor. I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
I don't want to do it.
I'm not partial to it either.
I'm just trying to stretch these jobs on for as long as I can, Pat. And you know what's worse about it is all of time is going to pass me by, and I'm going to have to do physical labor when I'm an old man and broken down. But you know, and I was wrong about the wrestling because I got beat up pretty good through the years.
Yeah.
So.
But you don't have to wrestle anymore because
No.
you're the wrestling manager now.
But my
You're
body's
also-
still sore.
Well, yeah, you wore yourself out doing
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Bad decisions. That's what I chalk my life up to. Just making bad decisions.
See, I was driving a truck when I was younger, and I said, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 50.
Yeah,
And so that's why I got into radio, because you sit and you talk, you know. How hard can that be?
exactly.
As it turned out, there's more to it than just sitting there talking.
Well, you still got into radio at a good time because now everybody just goes on their little stupid TikTok and they got some sort of audience just doing, you know,
Yeah.
a little dance in their living room. And it just seems to be like when all that was not here, before the internet was a great time, Pat
Yeah.
Porter.
I don't know if anybody want to watch me doing a dance on TikTok.
Not me. Not me.
That's good. I wouldn't want to watch you either. Hey, we're about done here. You know, we got to
Yeah, that
play,
was
play
great.
another song and make our
Yeah.
exit here.
Yeah, it was great to have no guests. Shout outs to Steve Miller. I apologize for everything, but a
Steve, where are you? All right, let's.
little bit late there, Stevie boy.
What do
We'll
we
see you
got?
at the OG stage.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, let's just see what we got here.
Going into the
My,
tickle
my
trunk
finger's
with some
going too
music, yeah.
fast on the
That's
button
okay.
here. Okay,
It
let's-
builds suspense. People love to know what you're going to pull out of that box of yours.
my
and-
tickle box,
Yeah,
yeah.
your tickle box. And
tickle trunk. I
right,
guess,
yeah,
eh?
tickle trunk and spin a record here at the old Ford 680Q.
Record. Hey, people don't know what a record
Well,
is
that's the
anymore.
equipment that we operate with here at 4680Q.
Oh,
You
come
do.
on. I
Couple-
got something here by Carlos Del Junco.
Who?
Carlos
Who's that?
Del Junco.
Okay.
He's going to be at the May 11th King Biscuit Boy
I
show.
apologize. Sure, yes.
So we're going to be bringing him on stage.
Nice.
And he might be playing this song when he comes up there.
All right, let's do it.
You want to hear it? It's called Let's Mambo. Aha!
Yeah.
Here we go.
Great sign-off song.
4680Q. We'll see you on Friday and Saturday right here.